Welcome to the Justin Hamilton podcast. My name is, of course, Justin Hamilton, and on today's episode, Steve Molk is back discussing all things TV. We thought we'd put this out on a Thursday, so if some of you were having a staycation and you wanted some options of TV shows to check out, we would throw some your way, and hopefully there will be something that appeals. Look, I just need to say, right up the top, there were some tech issues. I had a day of tech issues on Monday. I literally had a whole lot of things go wrong across the board, whether on my desktop or with other people's connections and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, there is a point where there will be just a weird edit right in the middle of our conversation. You'll start to notice that Steve's audio just changes for a moment. And I got to be honest, I was making a really good point when we realized he disconnected. So rather than try and reenact what we had discussed, what I've decided to do is we just kind of moved on from that subject. And then at the end of this podcast, I will bring up what I was saying at that point. And I'll also mention the two other shows that I was going to bring up that I was talking about that we just ran out of time. So these things happen, you know. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, they happen rarely. But when they do happen, they're super annoying. So keep an ear out and an eye out for after the podcast, and I'll kind of pick up some of the threads from there. A quick reminder coming up this Tuesday, the next newsletter that I'm producing comes out. It's a fortnightly newsletter. It has talks about things that I'm reading, things I'm watching. It's a little bit like a condensed version of this podcast. I'll also be giving out, discounts for live events that I'm a part of and all sorts of things. And basically, it's just trying to escape the algorithm. So if you would like to have more one-on-one contact and have it direct every fortnight, this is the way to do it. And that way you don't have to be engaging with the socials, etc., to find out what's coming out or what's coming up next. And just kind of make the contact a little bit more old school and direct. And you can also, through the newsletter, you can also contact me as well. So if you would like to sign up for that, head to justinhamilton.com.au and you can find all the details on the front page. Just remember, when you sign up, you'll get a confirmation email, and that will probably go to your spam. So just check your spam, move it to your inbox, confirm, and then you'll be good to go. It's free. And you can unsubscribe at any point as well. Always remember that. But we are slowly building a nice direct community there. Yes, you know what? Let's get into the podcast. I'll give you a bit of a heads up on some stuff that is going on. And just remember, I'll catch you up on some of the stuff that we lost due to the technical hiccup. But for now, let's talk TV with Steve Molk. He's back with a lot of TV. We have a lot of TV between us to discuss. We're also, just so people know, we're going to be getting into the latest episode of The Pitt and breaking that down. This season continues to be fantastic and a lot to discuss there. But I thought it would be more interesting to touch on three new things before we get into The Pitt, and we'll throw in a little bit of extra stuff at the end, including some Daredevil chat as well. How does that sound to you, Molk?
Sounds perfect, Hamo, because gosh, there's a lot going on. How good is this for a long weekend's worth of viewing?
Oh, I know. People have got to be very excited. This is why we're putting it out on a Thursday, so people can have a listen. And, after they've celebrated J-Dog going down and getting back up, then, they can watch some TV and sit back and, do what Jesus wanted, which is
just
eat as
as
much
the Lord
chocolate as
intended.
possible. Yeah. It's all about the chocolate. Let's get into Jury Duty. This is the new season. I did not see the first season, but I heard a lot about it. And
Mm.
can you give everyone a bit of an update on what season one is, so then they can understand where season two is going?
Yeah, look, it's the premise of the Jury Duty franchise is it's basically the Truman Show brought to real life.
Mm.
So there is a whole cast of people involved in a setup, a premise,
Yep.
and one person in the first season, they were a member of a jury in what they thought was an actual trial.
Mm.
Spoilers, was not an actual trial. Everybody else is actors except for this central person. And the conceit is that we follow them to see how they respond to pressures and absurdities and, frankly, in some situations, stuff that you just shouldn't do.
Right.
How polite are they, or do they buy into wanting to support that person? Or because ultimately we want them to be a good guy,
Mm.
but full credit to the producers. If they make a bad decision, they're not editing that out because in part they really can't.
Yeah.
All they can do is kind of have the rest of the cast on the ball enough to direct them maybe back into legal territory.
Mm.
The first one was brilliant because it had nobody that we knew and James Marsden, who we
Yes.
do know, playing
Yes.
an absolute dick version of himself. And it
Amazing.
was sublime. The
Yeah.
guy at the center of it was lovely and it was a great reveal, big surprise, ha ha. There we go. Now, we can't repeat that.
No.
Instead, we've now moved into Jury Duty Presents new scenario. In this case, it's Company Retreat for season two.
Oh, right. So it's a completely different place to set up, and because
Yeah,
I'm guessing that there might be some people who are doing real jury duty who are mugging for cameras that aren't there. So
right.
now we have to take it somewhere completely different.
And it draws the eye away from the notion that it could be a setup.
Mm,
If we only ever did jury duty scenarios, you're right, there'd be people going, "Where's the cameras? Is it in your
mm,
hat?" kind of vibe. And in this case, same situation. We've got a central new guy, and look, he is just lovely. He really is. His name is Anthony, and he is hired in a temp role. He knows it's a temporary situation. He's just trying to get a job out in, California. He's moved from, I think it was Indiana or somewhere. And in this case, he's working for the HR manager of a small family company called Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce. Right. And they're making some coin, and it's a small kind of group of people that have worked for this family company. The CEO, his name is Doug, the character's name is Doug, is has been running it for so long. He's going to retire. And the
right.
big push for this company retreat is he's going to retire and hand the CEO reins over to his son, Dougie Jr., who, as you would imagine, is a bit of a flake. Doesn't
Mm,
really know much about business, but has been dragged up in the family business.
mm,
Everyone else seems pretty capable, but it's a small business, so there's lots of weird relationships that they can lean on, including at the company retreat, they meet the IT person for the first time because she works from home, and she is, Hamo, if I say she's sun averse, that's an understatement.
mm,
Like, think white paint as sunscreen.
right.
That kind of vibe. And all of it is just to push and see how Anthony's going to deal with these stupid and weird and funny things. It's 8 episodes. It is absolutely not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Mm,
I really loved it for two reasons mainly. One was the generosity of the cast in that it is the scenario is written. They've got touch points to tell the story. And so they've got lines to learn. And they talk about, as a part of the final episode, they talk of what it meant to make the series. Um, they spent like 2 or 3 solid weeks together
mm,
learning each other's backstory because they have to present to this guy like they've known each other for years.
yeah.
So they're developing all of that. And they're also like, as it turns out, 2 of the writers are part of the cast
Right.
in bit roles, but they've written the scenarios and then going away at night going, we need to do this now because he's
Mm,
gone here and we want the narrative to flow naturally with him rather than hard gear change, do this thing that we thought we'd do.
mm,
So the way the cast jump and bounce and manage all of that is incredible.
mm.
It's very good. I also love it because the creators, Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stupnitsky, who came up with the idea and are the showrunners for the whole shebang, not only were they the two that were responsible for some of the most incredible Office episodes, US Office episodes, including Dinner Party, which is probably the cringiest, most notable one. Um, but they also talk about the logistics of putting a show like this together. In jury duty, they said we've got like 3 rooms that we have to work with, plus outside bits, because it was a jury that was sequestered. So they had like their hotel, they had the jury room, and they had the courtroom, and that was kind of all they had to deal with. With this, it's literally at like a company a retreat site, a campsite.
Mm.
And so they showed where, like, it might have been, let's say, I'm not going to do feet and inches properly, but let's say it was 1,000 square feet they had to deal with in the first instance. This is 20,000 square feet of open space, along
Yeah.
with buildings and stuff, and he can walk anywhere in that fucking space.
Yeah.
And they're all hidden away in buildings on site, like directors and
Mm.
people doing vision switching and camera people everywhere. The camera thing is obvious because it's sold as a part of the process. Oh, this is a documentary team that are following us. Yeah, they're doing a profile on small business America, right?
Mm.
And an easy sell in America where everybody is ready to sit down in front of a camera and talk about their experience. The thing they do really neatly in that is that they rarely leave him to do a one-to-one with a producer to camera.
Mm.
Generally, they just gather the whole crew, like the cast, not the company,
Yeah, I get it.
together,
Yeah.
and like the producer will ask them all a question. So they're all sticking together and helping him, and he's saying, well, this is my view and I think this, and they're all nodding or shaking their head or, getting involved in all of it as much as they need to. Oh, it's
Mm.
it's not my happy place, but it's just something that I really love because it ticks a number of like comedy and stupid and like technical amazingness.
Mm.
And those
Right.
things together for jury duty, it's really easy. They're half-hour episodes.
Yeah.
They're all available now, so you can stop and start as you need to. But I've just enjoyed the crap out of it.
Yeah. And is what kind of humor is it? Is it cringy? Is it life affirming? Like, is it all sorts? Because I'm guessing any scenario can change at any point. So it has to
At a
lean into
whim.
different types.
Yeah, and they actually note this spoils nothing. One of the writers talks about we had all of this writing done,
Mm.
and this is where we wanted the narrative to go, and we were going to guide you there. They were talking to Anthony after the reveal, and they said, and you did it in the first 10 minutes. And we're like,
Mm.
holy shit, we've got pages to write now.
Yeah,
Like
right,
just this
right.
sort of thing. The overall narrative is absolutely affirming. Like,
Mm.
I think well done to the casting team because they've managed in both seasons to pick a really nice person
Mm.
who wholly buys into it without looking for, is it a setup? Like
Mm.
they never do that.
Yeah.
That's marvelous. There is absolutely cringe moments. There is absolutely like just really generous funny moments where as much as anything the cast are responding to, their guy, their Mark,
Mm.
and he's just opened a door for them to walk through, and
Mm.
they will fall over themselves to make it happen. Everyone is cautious though. They're not, no one's trying to get in front of anybody's line or anybody's thing. They absolutely dance on their feet sometimes, which itself becomes part of the humor because
Mm.
you can tell there is no way that this person was expecting to have to get up and just run out of that room like they just did,
Yeah.
but shit clearly is happening and they've got to just deal with that.
Right.
So yeah, all of that rolled together makes it for good times, fun times. Yeah, moment, a perfect thing that happens just to help set the scene. They know each other, right? Everyone at the company knows each other. The HR manager and I think it's the head of sales and marketing have this nice little shorthand, and it's all very flirty and seems wonderful. And at the company retreat, the HR manager proposes very publicly to said sales and marketing manager, and she's like, "Oh no, no, we
Right.
haven't been on a date yet."
Right.
And
Yeah, that's cringy.
Anthony has
Yeah.
been dragged into this because the HR manager's like, "You've got to help me. This is going to be amazing." He doesn't know they've not dated. He thinks they've been dating for
Yeah, of
months.
course. Right.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, that sounds fun. The no famous people like no James Marsden type. Yeah, I don't think you can repeat that. That would be a
Oh, it would be a
potential
tell
red
straight
flag.
away. Yeah.
Well, the thing that works for you now is it's not like the old days where there were 4 stations and ER was getting 30 million people an episode watching it. It was, it's all the stations and all the shows are spread throughout America. So
Yeah.
there is a bigger chance that someone might not be across it. But at the same time, the James Marsden thing, for someone who
Yeah.
didn't watch the first one, I was across it.
Yeah, and it was glorious. And look, I think that the amazing thing about it, as much as anything, is the resting on it. All of the actors in the cast have credits. Like this
Mm,
is the thing that spun me out. Not huge ones, not James Marsden level stuff, but they've all had bits.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And to see them in that context, I think you would have to be a mega consuming literally all of the media nerd to maybe even have clocked them, because none of them would have
Mm,
had more than maybe a one line, extra background casty stuff. But they've clearly been performers. They have been performing in their various iterations. And yeah, like it makes me wonder quite literally. I hope there is, but if there's a third season in it, man, what's the scenario and how do you find a person
mm,
that hasn't now heard about the first two?
mm. Yeah, yeah. I wonder if the third one is a so hang on, before I say this next bit,
Mm.
is it's not a bad thing to know that he eventually finds out. Like we're not
Oh no,
spoiling
no,
the show.
the absolute tag is the reveal. They make sure because
Right.
they give them like a monetary reward, if that makes sense. Like you win, or we're giving you a bunch of cash because surprise
Yeah.
you've been great, blah blah blah. So yeah, it's not spoiling it to say it's revealed. How
Yeah.
it's revealed would
Is
be a
yeah,
spoiler.
yeah, right.
But
Okay.
yeah,
So I wonder if at some point maybe you can do this another couple of times, putting people in different scenarios, and then at some point maybe they turn the trick around on the audience
mm,
where you
yes,
where the person's in on it from the start, but the audience doesn't know, and that
mm,
person's an asshole. Because that's the thing that I'm fascinated by. By the way, if they're listening, a little bit of
copyright headline.
royalty, please, a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
thank you.
But
Writing
the
credit.
well, the thing I'm fascinated by is it has to be a pretty thorough check on a person, and from there being able to rely on the fact that they stay stable as a person, because
Mm.
some people could flip out, and I could
Oh,
imagine that you suddenly end up with a show that you can't air.
and spot on, Hamo. Like I think outside of America, this would be a much harder thing to deliver because, as
Mm,
particularly in California, right, lots of people there are just show ready, right? It's
yeah.
almost ingrained in their DNA about how to do those producer chats after the
Mm,
fact. Um, and yes, if they cast the wrong person, it could go south really quickly. And the whole aim of the show is to be generous and lift them up
mm,
while the stakes get increasingly out of control for them to try and deal with. And if there's a criticism I have of it, I think it's that is that in the first season the stakes just went bang bang like big steps
mm,
and paid off really solid. And while we know in the same way it's going to be revealed, I just didn't feel the stakes were as big. However, our Mark Anthony just bought in, like he was
mm.
boots and all, which made it pay off marvelously.
Hmm. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, that's why I was curious about you talking about the reveal. But I guess if you've watched the first season, you know that there's going to be a reveal.
Oh,
So,
they sell it like in the
hmm,
first season when they were selling it, and like here's a person, he's not an actor, everyone else is an actor.
hmm,
Like the show, I think the show wouldn't have the joy for the audience if they didn't go and now we reveal it to them, because I think
hmm.
that's the ultimate release of tension,
Yeah,
where we get that it's gotten crazy and things and things and things. Oh, and by the way, guess what? We've been playing you the whole time,
yeah,
and you've been amazing and all the things.
yeah. Great. Okay. Which streamer is that on?
That's on Prime Video, and as I
Prime.
said, the first season's all there as well. So you've got two if you really want to get into it.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's stick with comedy then. Let's go
Yep.
into Last Comic Standing. We have a bit of an Aussie flavour in it this season.
Last one laughing.
Oh, last
Hello.
one laughing. You know what? I remember I remember a previous season made somewhere, and
Mm,
it was not great, and I put it out of
mm,
my mind.
mm. And we won't talk about that, except to say that there, I think, Prime Video again
Hmm.
have made. I think it's like 13 different country seasons versions.
Yes. Yeah.
They are everywhere. I
Yeah.
don't know if this is the only one to have got to a second yet, but definitely the
Mm.
UK version is on a second season. It's hosted by Jimmy Carr,
Mm.
and Roisin Connerty is there kind of sitting with them as they watch. The basic premise is here is a room with a bit of a stage and some weird props and a kitchen, and it's a space in which 8 comedians are ostensibly locked in for 3-ish hours.
Mm.
And the whole premise is they have to make anyone, but ultimately everybody, laugh. So
Yeah.
they are the last one. If you laugh, you're out.
Yeah.
So it's about playing it straight. It's about dropping hard gags. It's
Mm.
physical comedy. It is like pressure point comedy where you see someone starting to turn and you go, right, I'm zooming in on that, or
Mm.
whatever it takes to make the other people laugh. And look, they are all pretty seasoned comedians. In the
Yeah.
first season, it was really great for the UK. In the second one, I was surprised to see the winner of that first season, Bob Mortimer,
Mm.
come back for season two. I don't know if it was just we thought he was fun, but he was brutal, Hamo.
Mm.
Like his he was one of those people that would almost chase the other comedians around the room if he saw that he'd managed to get his fingers underneath their saddle
Mm.
and just not let go of them.
Yeah.
And oh, so it's not just them trying to make each other laugh in that kind of social setting,
Mm.
almost, playing for the back of the room, but they each have what they call their joker, where they get to perform a pre-arranged piece,
Mm.
whatever that is. And there can be props, costumes, like other people involved in your little sketch that you're putting on, or just straight stand up if you want that to sing a song,
Mm.
whatever it is that you need to do. There's challenges that will appear, particularly because they are on a time frame. They acknowledge we've only got 3-ish hours
Mm.
because they're also 30-minute episodes and we want to deliver it. So Jimmy, as the host, will come in and force their hand and pit person A against person B, or set them up with a scenario where it's pretty hard not to laugh.
Mm.
Um, and it, I think, as much as anything, whenever they suspect someone's laughed, sometimes it's obvious, right? The camera catches it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a snigger or a giggle or a smile that you've missed because over here is where the craziness is happening.
Mm.
So they pull a red light, comes on in that room, and everyone knows the right time is off. And the release that you see them have then
Mm.
in just being able to breathe out and smile and congratulate each other on, that thing we saw and blah, blah, blah. It's a yellow card process. 2 yellow cards, you're out. Red cards, you're gone straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the lineup, right? This is what I think sets it apart. 8, let's call them English comedians. Bob Mortimer,
Mm-hmm.
Mel Gadroidic, I'm going to say that very poorly, I apologize. David Mitchell,
Mm-hmm.
Ramesh Ranganathan, Diane Morgan, who you would have seen in her Kunk on Earth stuff
Mm-hmm.
on Netflix, Amy Gledhill, Maisie Adam. You may
Mm-hmm.
have heard of a guy called Alan Carr.
Mm.
Bemasola Ikumelo, who is a wonderful English comedian, very funny lady. And gosh, the tears from her while she's trying to hold in some laughs were a source of laughter themselves.
Yeah.
And Aussie comedian Sam Campbell.
Yes, that's the big interest for me because I
And
think Sam comes at
shit.
things from such different angles, and I feel like he's perfect for this kind of show.
Like as an understatement.
Mm.
Like Bob's brutal, and they
Mm.
have all gone in knowing Bob's here, we're screwed. He is just so delicious and angular, and Sam is on a whole other planet.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh, to the point where when he plays his Joker, he does it wearing a full body canary outfit with no real explanation. It
Yeah.
just happens.
Yeah.
And what is brilliant is seeing all of the other comics, because they're all trying to get each other, they're all trying to make each
Mm.
other laugh. Try and target Sam, and he just bats it away like it was a tennis ball, man.
Mm.
It's just glorious to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. I find it. I think you might have mentioned it once, Hamo. That is that when you watch comedy or things that are funny in a big group, like in a cinema or with a bunch of people, the laughing out loud thing is encouraged, and you find you will
Mm.
buy into it if you think it's funny or you're not. if you're watching a show by yourself or a movie and there's a funny thing, you might laugh out loud. More likely go, that was funny.
Yeah.
Like I really affirmed the funniness of that. And in this, there were at least four different situations where I had to pause the show because I was laughing at whatever had gone on or however it had played out. And it's just that kind of it is 110% intense comedy.
Mm.
Everybody is on everybody all of the time. I had not forgotten, but just not been engaged with how insane David Mitchell is sometimes.
Right. Right.
And then there are some that I didn't know. I'd never met, or sorry, never, of course I haven't met, but I'd never seen any of Bemi's comedy.
Right.
Even like there's panel rich shows in the UK and they all pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
I'd seen Maisie on Taskmaster and fell in love with her there.
Hmm.
In the same way, if you haven't seen Sam Campbell's Taskmaster series,
Mm.
fuck me, friends, that is golden.
Mm.
He is
Yeah.
just the loosest unit you've ever seen. And like to the point where he floors, oh God, too many comedians in my head. What's the host of friggin' UK Beardy Man that's coming to Australia? Host of
Don't,
Taskmaster UK.
don't think about it and it'll come to your
Him.
mind.
He just floors him with a
Mm.
comment. Like he gives him the floor just as an offhanded, well, have you got a question? And are you a child of divorce? Bang. Just absolutely everyone is cornered at that. It's so,
Yeah.
so great. It's rolled out 3, 2, and the final episode is this week. So
Right.
this is a
Okay.
great time to get on board. You may even then want to go and watch the first UK series if you want, but this is just, it will be a total of 30 minutes of Jesus fuck, that was great.
Okay. That sounds good. Anything that has Sam in it, and I'm hoping that he wins.
Oh,
You know,
yes, please.
having seen him from a young fella up in Brisbane to where he is now has been a real joy. So I'm
Oh,
glad that he's doing so well over there.
and it's so good. And I had forgotten the joy in watching other people just try and press down
Yeah.
their laughter and
Yeah.
the way that that physically manifests in them
Mm.
is in itself hilarious. And also you feel a little bit sad for them because you
Mm.
can see that they are trying so hard and
Mm.
they just can't do it. Sometimes they
Mm.
can do it, but it's breaking them. And then it breaks them.
Mm. I feel like this is the kind of show that's probably a win-win
Mm,
for if you want to sell yourself to an audience, because if you crack early, it doesn't matter. You look like you're fun, and then if you win, you look like you're really good at comedy. So either way,
mm.
you're getting to sell yourself in a really positive way.
Oh, and it's really smart because that I won't say it's 5 minutes, it might be a little bit more, but their Joker thing where they present their prepared dealio
Mm.
by stroke of fortune,
Mm.
everybody gets to do it.
Mm.
So like not like, oh, you got out, you have to do it now.
Mm.
It's like the timing is all right, we'll get you to do yours, we'll get you to do yours. And so they save Sam because
Mm.
he's in no fear of getting booted early on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like, well, we can fit these other people in early. They're looking like they're a bit risky. So you then actually just get to see, well, here is this person doing their best in
Mm.
a normal kind of, how I might want to do some crazy stand-up scenario.
Yeah.
And it's gloriously creative and obtuse and yeah, it's just so funny. It's
Okay.
just so funny.
And that one's on Amazon Prime as well.
Yeah, Prime Video gets a double knock this
Oh
week.
yeah. Oh well, that'll help Jeff Bezos off.
Yeah, another
Finally,
trip to the moon.
a bit of luck going his way.
Yeah.
Let's stick with comedy and talk about, and then we'll get into the pit. The Manosphere. That sounds
Oh,
like it was funny and fun.
how about look? I'm gonna just read you this little bit that I wrote at the top because this will. Yes, Louis Theroux Inside the Manosphere on
Mm.
Netflix. Fuck. Louis Theroux threads an incredible needle by being invited into the hyper-masculine world of the Manosphere and some of its influences. Fuck. That's as far as I got, other than, sort of there are some big questions we can talk about later. But
Right.
Hamo, I'm studying to be a future teacher. I've
Mm.
spent 10 years in youth work in a church context, dealing with all sorts of incredible young people and their parents and all sorts of things.
Mm.
I'm a tech guy, right? Like I did 20 years in IT, and so I understand bits of technical things and all sorts of stuff. This as much as I can say that I knew about this,
Mm,
I didn't know it was this horrendous. And to think that there are, and unfortunately, this is the legitimate facts, 7 to 8 year old boys up to really about 15 or 16, they're the core demo,
mm,
independent of what anyone else might tell you, are getting spoon fed to force fed just this incredible misogynistic, um, gobsmackingly galling, you know, torrent of shit
mm.
from men who have, men, I use that word loosely, um, people who have no intention of anything other than making sure they earn money from you,
Yeah.
no matter how they can get it, whatever it is that they can attract you and draw you in, and the influence that they have because of that.
Mm,
Because they're, whether it's they're telling you to stand up and this is what it means to be a man, or they're telling you this is how you need to treat women because women are, you know, a chromosome less or more, or, you know, just not as smart as human men or whatever it is. Or you know, you can make, look, I made $5,000 before breakfast.
mm,
You know, all of this shit rolled together. Like, I find Lewis Theroux as a modern documentarian pretty bloody great.
mm,
I'd even stick my neck out and say he's probably of our generation one of the best.
mm.
The way he invests in whatever the situation is, he is willing to subject himself next to whatever
Yeah.
that is, and politely ask some pretty straight questions without being accusatorial, without being someone that's going to go, ha ha, I got you.
Mm,
It's just, I want to see what you're claiming is a thing, and I'm going to ask you some questions about it and let you ostensibly defend yourself without you feeling like I'm telling you to defend yourself.
mm,
And in this, he does that so great. And these boys dressed up as adults that then, you know, oh, I'm streaming him. And what about this? And aren't you mates with Jimmy Savile? And blah, blah, blah. Just the things they reckon that they can get him on
mm,
becomes, oh, you're a child. Like,
mm,
you are, you have come to a knife fight with a feather.
mm.
And he's generous in that he allows them to say, and of course he owns the edit, right? It's not like he's hanging them out to dry, but he lets them say what they want to say or
Mm.
respond how they want to respond. And there has been some criticism of this show inside the Manosphere from some corners, and I understand it in part because they're asking, like, why didn't he ask them directly about their misogynistic views? Now, he did, but he wasn't like fully overt.
Mm.
Why was he not more of an ally in speaking out against the way that they treat women? I mean, he sort of was, but that's also not kind of how documentary works.
Well, this is the thing because people don't understand that a documentary isn't meant to be taking a side. It's meant to be
Mm,
presenting you with facts, and then you let the facts speak for themselves. And if these people are being, you know, dickheads, then that's what you take from it. You don't need him to say something. He's already presenting what's happening on a platter for you to invest in. And also, I don't know. I just kind of think without having seen it,
mm,
people people want everything they watch to be exactly what they want, and it
yeah.
can't be. Like you've got a Bluey doll behind you. I know some
Mm,
people who won't let their families watch Bluey anymore because it's heteronormative.
oh,
And it's like, well, it's already undercutting your expectations where for someone who doesn't have kids who therefore was across the phenomenon of Bluey but never
mm,
watched an episode. And then when my friend got me to watch one, I was quite surprised that Bluey was a girl. And so it's already playing around with assumptions. You can't be everything to everyone.
yeah.
So, because if you try to be everything to everyone, you bland
Oh,
out what you're making, and therefore there's nothing to say. So,
yeah.
him just taking the specific route into this story, which is probably it's probably the approach that he's done for everything. Just let
Mm,
it be presented and then make up your own mind. And you know what? If he didn't go hard enough, go and make your own fucking documentary.
right?
Yeah.
Right. It's, look, Justin's cousin does a great job. and I think he plays his atypical straight bat in
Mm,
his inevitable style that allows him to. It's almost like, and this is all of his documentaries, especially in this one. It's like he's there present with them, which he is, but inside this weird kind of bubble that shields him from the absolute slime
mm,
that they're trying to throw at him.
mm,
And even when they think they got him,
mm,
half the time when they think they've got him, they're just hitting with, and then they just talk over him even when he tries to respond.
mm,
So that in itself proves that they're just not people that are serious about
mm,
wanting to have an exchange of ideas. The amazing thing about this, and I've learnt subsequently, is that I mean I'd never heard of the people that he speaks to, like these manfluencers, brofluencers. Um, it turns out that they're reasonably quite popular and
mm.
well known
Yeah.
when I asked some young people that I work with,
Yeah.
um, which was a depressing thing in and of themselves because they're American in the UK and that they say horrible things.
Mm,
And these 13-year-old boys knew who they were. If you want to watch it, you'll find out their names. I'm not going to promote them in any kind of extra manner that might get them any kind of attention. So take that for what it's worth. But they're important enough
mm,
within that sphere um, that people absolutely know who they are and they have a massive following. And for him to even get into a position where he could talk to them clearly has taken a lot of negotiation and
mm,
conversation and this is what we'd like to do and this is how we're going to approach it and reassurance really because they all mention in either preamble stuff where he's filmed them doing their live streams or direct in conversation with him that they were concerned that he's going to play a gotcha moment on them.
mm,
And all he could say was, no, that's not my intention. I'm just here to understand what it is you're doing.
yeah. I'm kind of across some of these people, but unfortunately through friends who have young sons who
Mm,
have been kind of engaged with some of the stuff and uh, trying to find ways to uh, pull their kids' influence out of
yeah.
that influence over their kids away from them. The Does he give any reasons for why he believes these people have been able to take such a hold?
Look, I'm going to say that as much as anything, what he offers is here is their world.
Mm,
And here is how they sit in their world and how they manufacture their world.
mm,
He does get a bit of an insight and the opportunity to show us this is what they're actually building. And in the central character's situation, he doesn't shy away from it. In fact, he leans into it and says, "Oh no, I'm here to make money. That is
mm,
absolutely the end of it." He says, "But you say horrible things and you treat women poorly, and then you make money off the fact that you're encouraging people to sign up to their OnlyFans, yet you treat them really poorly because they're OnlyFans models."
mm,
He says, "I don't care about them. I'm
mm.
here to make money."
Yeah.
And so it means in the end that what we've got is this just gobsmackingly horrendous um, of horrible horrible people doing horrible things and not caring what you think because they get to wake up with another $5,000 in their bank account after 20 minutes.
Mm. We had a little technical issue for a second then, and that is definitely the Manosphere coming in and doing whatever
Yes,
they can to uh, stop us from giving out 10 cents worth. Used to be two
those
cents, but
fuckers.
inflation has raised it to 10 cents. Look, yeah, this will be something interesting to watch, as I said, because of my friends' kids and things like
Mm,
that. I'll just have to build up a level of tolerance before I check this one out because I feel like I know quite a bit and to just get to the end of it and land on, oh yeah, they're guys just trying to make money any way
mm.
they can is not the most exciting of places to land. But for people who aren't across it, I think that's worth checking out. Is that on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I'm not going to lean in and say it's the most important thing you need to see.
Hmm.
it's certainly a bloody amazing show, 90 odd
Mm,
minutes, and needs to be. I would encourage people to check it out. If if you're someone that obviously has understandably is concerned about the impact of that and you don't want it, don't feel bad, right? There are
mm,
more than enough of us that are watching it and feeling bad about ourselves anyway.
yeah.
If you have young, particularly young men in
Mm,
that, sort of 7 to 13, 16-year-old bracket, and you can get them to sit down and watch it with you,
mm,
that is going to be bloody important for you
yeah.
because the conversation you'll have with them during and after will both horrify and delight you
Mm.
because you will learn shit about your sons.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get into something more fun, which is we're
Oh,
up to 6 p.m. on
yes.
season 2 of The Pit. I have been loving the different rhythm of this season. Last
Mm,
season, there was. It was a tough day for Dr. Robbie in general, and then there was the shooting, which elevated everything. This has been more like a frog in a pot that is getting
mm.
warmer and warmer and warmer. So it's had a different rhythm to it, which is smart because if every season is just something as dramatic as a shooting, then after a while every season's the same. This
Yeah.
has been a slow burn, and we are seeing some of our favorite characters really struggling. The in the latest episode, it was kind of thrilling
Mm.
to see Robbie and Dana really go at each other. These are two
Yep.
people who obviously respect each other, obviously like each other, but they are both at wits' end for different reasons. For Dana, she's having PTSD, seeing one of her nurses get attacked again,
Yep.
and it turns out she's prepared these days. She's just carrying around something in her pocket that she can just whip out and inject into someone, and they will go down like a sack of shit. And to be honest, I'm all for it. Let all the nurses carry
Please.
that.
Can we? And
Yeah.
and you're right. I think that the code hula hoop that
Mm,
leads us into that scenario, you're
mm,
right. Not only is it Dana responding to her pain and past and the stuff that's buried in her because of her season one stuff that we saw, and I'm sure, just a life as a nurse in an ER.
mm,
Also, she's merging that together with not only is Robbie seemingly feeling like he's pissed off and disconnected all at the same time,
mm,
because of that, they've worked together for a long time and yeah, clearly like each other to the point of, work loving each other. She's really concerned for him.
mm.
And she feels like she's at her wit's end with him because he is not listening to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and so that tension absolutely erupted for them. And I love that interchange where he was like, "So you just carry this syringe of this around?" And she said, "Why are you gonna blah blah blah?" He said, "I will write you another script and another script, so you've got a backup, but you can't just be blah." And it's like, mate, we have to do what we have to do here, and you cannot think that we cannot survive without you.
Mm,
Like she just calls him on it straight up,
mm,
and I mean, there was a lot going on in this episode, Hammer. We've got the ice aftermath. We've got
mm.
um
Let's stick with Dr. Robbie for the moment
okay,
because
please.
there's a lot to unpack there
Yep.
because at 6 p.m. this is the end of his shift and he is
Should
able
be.
to go. And what's interesting is that and he could walk out of there
Mm,
at the end of this shift, but he's finding reasons to stay. And part
mm,
of the thing that makes this character so interesting, and also I commend the writers and Noah Wiley for not playing Dr. Robbie as being perfect, but
mm.
being quite human. He's almost looking for reasons not to leave as well. And it hasn't just been Dana kind of pointing out that, if I'm not here, things go on. If you're not here, things go on.
Mm.
And you need to kind of return to the person that you are. But even someone like Dr. Mackay, she's like seen she's picking up on a vibe from him. She's extremely empathetic, but
Yep.
she even takes him aside to sort of say, "Hey, are you all right? Are you sure about what you're going off?" There's been a lot of uh, uh, speak from him that is borderline the kind of talks that people who have planned to suicide can have at parties. Like I know people who have suicided who were at parties who no one would have known. Hey, he was really
Mm.
good. He just went around and he said goodbye to everyone and that was fine. And then it's only in hindsight
Yeah.
that you pick up on stuff. I'm not saying that is where he's going, but the warning signs have been there for a long time. And I don't think it's because he thinks he's perfect. I think it's because he doesn't know how to uncouple himself from the job
Yeah.
that's hurting.
Yeah, I think it's becoming really clear that
Mm,
Robbie finds his identity in being the attending and so
mm,
deeply embedded in the pit that there's not much else for him.
mm,
And which I think is why he's trying to sort of reach out and grab at things around him, and his bike is a part of that.
mm,
Such that we even then see, you're right, he's manufacturing reasons to hang around, and one of
mm.
them is Duke, right?
Yeah.
We got to get Duke's CAT scan because Duke's a mate. He helped me out with my bike. He's a good guy, and Duke is even starting to see, man, what's going on with you? Um,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to wait, and I understand that, right? Who wants to sit around and wait in a gown for a CAT scan or whatever?
Mm,
Um, but he's seeing that Robbie is not coping with much.
yeah.
And Robbie's no, you like he's serious about Duke's health. Like that is a thing. But you're right, he's also masking behind that and going, that's another reason why I don't need to go yet.
Yeah.
Because there feels like, yeah, there's the other bit of tension sitting in that, and like, oh, I'm going on this ride and I'm doing this thing. It's gonna be great. It's sabbatical. I'm doing a thing. It's gonna be amazing. And yet the people around him that aren't even close, like you said, and yet those that are picking up that this isn't just a sabbatical that you're suggesting here, Robbie. There's some other shit going on for you.
Mm,
And like, we care about you, man.
mm,
We might not be expressing in a way that feels like care right now because we've all got our own shit going on. But again, the really human choices
mm.
that our character, Dr. Robbie, is making, that the writers are giving him to be able to make, open up just this, the reality. And it's again, it's not just the Robbie A narrative, right? There's these other things. Langdon is still firing and having a great. Al Hashimi is still there, and we don't
Mm,
know what the hell's going on there. But
mm.
Robbie's sniffing and thinking there's something rightly up going on there. We've got Mel, who's back from the deposition,
Yeah.
and was it? Gosh, it was either 10 or 11, where we get the reveal of Gloria's sister Becca had to
Mm,
come in
mm,
because she had, as it turned out, a UTI
mm,
because she's having sex, and
mm.
Mel didn't know.
Yeah.
And that nearly makes her lose her shit in the midst of all of her other busyness
Mm.
because she's caring for her. She's ostensibly her guardian, and she didn't know that her sister was having sex. And her sister's like, I'm an
Well,
adult,
didn't even know her sister had a boyfriend,
right?
so it wasn't just the sex side of things.
But it's
But
all that she's just not in that she
yeah,
felt she should know. And Becca's like, it's okay. I'm okay.
yeah, we just once again getting back to the Robbie stuff needs to
Sorry.
be
Yes.
unpacked because it's too easy to pass on
Mm,
what's going on with this character. Santos is even picking up on
mm.
this kind of ego death stuff that he's discussing, and what we've kind of learned from last season to this season is that last season was the worst day that he could have possibly had, but subsequently he has quite clearly not had any therapy to deal with that day, let alone anything in the build up to that day. So what we're seeing is the ramifications of everything that happened in that shift and
Yeah.
how if you don't deal with these things, they manifest in ways that are almost unbearable to cope with. Dana pointed out something that is completely right because Langdon, in once again in a way that's very good writing.
Mm,
Langdon did break the law.
mm.
He did steal drugs from patients. He probably was looked after because he had. He was well liked. He also had an impeccable record up until that point. Um, but Robbie hasn't handled him coming back correctly because,
Mm.
and Dana pointed it out. We did hypothesize about this, which is before the pit started, Langdon was his Whitaker, and
Yeah,
now
his
he
boy.
is, and he's let him down. And it's so, his mentor died, and then he mentored someone, and he's let him down, and that's now another reflection on him in
Mm.
some sort of way. Now, the Langdon thing needs to be dealt with, but you know, even Robbie letting it slip to Hashimi that he stole drugs. You watched her do a 180. She's been quite protective
Mm.
of Langdon and hasn't really understood why people have been picking on him. But even that was a slip that Robbie normally would be on top of. And I can't work out if he wasn't the star of the show, winning
Yeah.
Emmys and winning every award, I would say he's leaving at the end of this season. Now, I don't think that's going to happen because it would be kind of crazy at this point to
Right.
like ER was big enough that uh once Doug Ross left, once Mark Green left, once all those characters left, the show was so well written that there were new people to take over. But it's too early for the Pitt
Mm.
to be writing out their main character. But having said that, it does feel like the trail that he is leaving behind him is suggesting that he won't be back next season.
Yeah. And it's an interesting take, Hammer, because I think when they gave us season two, they were able to
Mm,
announce that season three was coming, right? They were
yeah,
basically back to back filming. Great, right? Phenomenal.
yeah,
How much of that we see Robbie in? Personally, I hope all 15. Who
mm,
knows? We literally don't know what's going to happen in all of that.
yeah,
Um, I I'm intrigued to see how that plays out because he even reinforced to one of the registrars, like one of the student doctors, while I'm away,
mm,
make sure you all see the therapist, right? The
mm,
the in-house, the doctor.
yeah,
Um, stay. It's do as I say, not as I do, right? Because
mm,
that guy has been at him, Robbie. We haven't talked,
mm,
and now he's telling, make sure you go and see this guy to process this stuff because it's a lot,
mm,
right? Even like with poor Emma and her golfer bro attack, right? Like you need to talk to someone. Dana's at it. You need to talk to someone. We're all here for
mm,
you. Everything's fine. Like you don't need to hang around. You can go. And she's like, I don't quit. And she's like, good on you, but you stay close, right? Like that
mm,
sort of stuff. And in the midst of this, Robbie's clock that it's gone on, and it still has to lurch from trauma to trauma to trauma.
mm,
Um, and is somehow like we look to him because he's meant to juggle all of the balls.
mm,
And it is very clear there's a couple that have become red hot for him and he is struggling to keep them in the air, let alone the one that he's had to kick up with his foot because it fell out of the way, but he's managed to claw that back into the circuit. But he's not going well. Like
mm,
yes, he should have gone home or gone on what he needed to. He's finding excuses to stay almost because, like you've inferred, it feels like if he left now, he'd be leaving.
yeah. There
And
is there is definitely an impending sense of doom with the character, and it
mm,
is it's pretty fascinating to watch, and it's been a really interesting choice for them to take this character in this direction.
yeah.
There was a moment in this episode where the camera was just centered on his face, and he was listening to the patient who'd been brought in who had the fireworks go off,
Mhm. Oh, his head.
and his head was, they're stapling his head up,
Yep.
and this guy's on all sorts of drugs, obviously, and he's just you don't see the patient. You're just watching Dr. Robbie's face, and the guy's talking about how much he loves gunpowder and how much he loves the whoo noise, but that
Yep.
he's making that noise and it's centered on Robbie's face, and
Mm.
that noise is kind of a synecdoche for what he's experiencing throughout this whole episode. I think this has been an incredible second season, and between and also watching Dana and Robbie fight, it's like mum and dad are fighting. Like, what
I
the
know,
fuck is
right?
happening? This is,
Yeah.
but that's why it was kind of a little bit thrilling. The other thing that really stood out to me was, man. I know lots of people that I know who are watching this were really fucked off about this, but I kind of loved it. Joy has her boundaries. She's paid till 6 and she's leaving.
So
And
yeah,
that is getting that generation absolutely correct, because I'm seeing that, you're seeing that. I know people who are in senior positions where that is the case. And you know what? Technically, that is the right thing to do. Joy is correct. People get burnt out. You get
yep.
talked into sticking around, and then once you're burnt out, people throw you away and replace you, and no one really gives a shit.
Mm.
The funny thing about it for me is that she is absolutely right to do that, and now all the other people are just stuck there longer.
Yep. They have to follow up and do the stuff that she didn't get done.
Yeah, and that to me is good television, because it is there's two sides to that are fair.
Yes, right. In all of those parts.
Mm.
Something else hit me watching it this week. Oh, actually, there were two things. One was really close to the bone, and another was just, I'll give you the nice, light, amazing one. We see lots of moments in the pit where you could go, and the example I'll give you is when Robbie hears there's a code hula hoop,
Mm.
and the camera cuts and follows him running through the ER
Mm.
to the room. And it's not a 2 second like run. He runs for a good 8 or 9 seconds.
Yeah,
And we're seeing him go through all of the like stuff we've seen them walk through
yeah.
all season, right? The camera also could have just got see him start to run and
Mm.
see him run into the room. Like that's all we needed to understand his run there.
Mm.
But instead, the camera stays with him for those valuable 9 or 10 seconds to get from point A to point B. And I just went, yeah, like this adds to like the physical and mental load on Robbie.
Mm.
Not just that he's running, but he is literally lurching from this thing to now I've got to completely just compartmentalize every other thing that I've been thinking of
Mm.
and step into the procedural nightmare of an attack on a staff member
Yeah.
and what that has to look like. And then surprised when I get there, he's hit his head and he's been injected with something.
Mm.
And I've got to formally speak to Dana
Mm.
because everyone's got to cover their butts.
Mm.
And meanwhile, he's still got all of those other parts in his head where I've got to go back and deal with Duke. I've got to go back and help
Mm.
with this. What's happening with these things? I knew
Mm.
that such and such had what's happening with the baby, right?
Mm.
Like all of these things are still happening. It's no wonder that when we get to write these characters, and we've had amazing heroes, we've had
Mm.
broken heroes, we've had bad guy heroes, we've had the full gamut of heroes, you would say. And yet here in Dr. Robbie, we get a whole new hero, someone who is at his end
Mm.
and yet still performing well above ammo what I could ever offer
Right.
under that kind of pressure and is doing it professionally. And yet it's very clear his personal relationship that you would naturally have in those high pressure situations. That's where the seams are really showing that things are coming unstuck.
Well, even when he's trying to be generous, like with Mohan, where he's talking about residency, he just kind
Yep.
of comes at it from not quite the right angle,
Yes.
even though what he's saying is correct and is a compliment. He just
Yes.
kind of comes at it slightly
That's more your pace.
clumsily. Yeah, yeah.
That kind of hurt, Robbie, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's been fascinating to watch him. To me, this has been Dana's season. I think they've really after probably about halfway through last season, they really cottoned on to the talent and the character that they had in front of them, and they've lent into her to the extent that for me, she's like a co-lead.
Oh,
Now,
with a
she's been
Fuckleberry
so
Chaser.
good. Yeah, she's so good. Santos, we saw her. It looks like she's possibly going to be getting back to bad habits with cutting herself by stealing that scalpel. That's
Yep. Not great.
once again, lots of people don't like that character. I like Santos a lot, and I think she is correct in her feelings about Langdon, but also there, I also do think he needs to be given an opportunity to make amends, but he also needs to be put through the shit by her because
Mm.
he did gaslight her and he
He
did
made her
try and
first day a nightmare.
yeah, and if he could have gotten away with it, he would have gotten her thrown out of there, and he just would have kept taking drugs.
If she had not reported him, he'd
Yeah,
still be taking drugs.
absolutely.
And she'd be going, I don't know if I did the right thing.
Yeah,
Like I mean, she's already second guessing herself, but she's holding firm
yeah,
to this, like what is obviously drilled into them at,
mm,
medical school, that you just don't fucking do that.
yeah. But at the same time, he was in the funniest moment of the episode when he offered McKay a hug, and she went, "Absolutely not." That was a great moment.
Yeah.
That made me laugh a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's some great lightness in his attempts at reconciliation.
Yeah, and Whitaker pointing out to Santos that, oh, you like having me as a housemate, and Whitaker doesn't handle that well either. Like I like him, but I don't blame him. He's probably copped a lot of shit from Santos, and then he finally gets to point out, hey, you actually like having me around, and she can't admit to
No,
that, and then
no.
Javadi just being so excited that she witnessed all of it. Like it's there's lots of emotions in the show. I know a few people who can't bear to watch it because they say it's too makes them feel too panicked. But
Mm.
for me, it's feeling panicked is like a 1/6 of it. Do you know what I mean? Because there's
Breathe through
joy and
that.
there's sadness and there's excitement and then there's just good drama. Like the woman who's been brought in to help out, just telling Javadi that she's a fucking snowflake. Like that was pretty funny.
So good. So good. Oh
Like
man.
when you're pointing out when she points out how hard I work to put myself through everything. Like I know you're having problems with your parents, but they've got you covered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, mum and dad are doing okay.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
It's yeah, and I agree. I think that the people that are concerned about it sort of making them feel stressed. I mean, you are meant to feel stressed. That's
Mm,
literally a part of the way it's developed. Like
mm,
breathe through it with the characters. Like
mm,
thankfully we're not all there going, let's just read out whatever this person's problem is and how we're going to treat it. Like I have no
mm.
idea. But breathe and watch, the registrar's learning and
Yeah.
saying things with that wonderful great inflection where sometimes they'll just say it flat. I know this. Yeah, we're going to 10 cc's of this stat. And when they get us, so what now? Oh, we did there's something
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
inflection up at the end. Like, oh,
Yeah.
no, I don't quite know this.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of it, right?
That's
That's how
yeah.
all of that stuff lands.
Yeah.
The elderly couple was the stuff that hit close.
Yeah.
Just, we don't want to, it's too expensive. We don't want to go into care. We don't want to lose our independence. Having gone through that with my mother-in-law
Mm,
in the last few years, she'd been living with us and we'd been caring for her and she was okay until she needed to go in and she has not gotten better.
mm.
Um, that's just been hard watching that up close, particularly for my glorious wife, who it's
Yeah.
her mum, right? It's
Yeah.
just all of
Well,
that was close.
yeah, there's going to be something like,
Mm,
I had a friend of mine who didn't have long to live. And so that storyline with the mum was hitting me hard,
yeah, yeah.
But once again, uh, these these kinds of shows and this kind of art, they're empathy machines, and they allow
Mm,
you to experience all of those feelings in a safe space,
mm.
which
Lesser
is
shows. Sorry, go, please.
but once it's over, you can breathe,
Yeah.
and you've engaged with it. So,
Fuck, mate, if you need to pause it and put it in the freezer, you
mm,
can do that and breathe, right? If you need to,
yeah,
I need to go for a walk because this is
mm,
intense, do it.
mm,
Just you can come back to it at any point.
yeah,
The the rarity of a TV show that allows us to engage in the real impact of trauma.
mm,
Because that's what we're seeing in but whether it's the patients and their families and the reality of that for them, as much as the knock-on effect impact of trauma on each of the people who are attending to and caring for them. and at the way that it filters through their lives and their trauma coming back in as a rebound
Mm,
just makes for like a flood of intense performance. And
mm,
thankfully, that's what it is. And yet we know the reality is it's still that bad.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Because of our technical problem, which
I'm sorry.
chewed up. No, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. It is technology, and I have been. I recorded a podcast today with Jenny Tian, and her headphones weren't working.
Oh,
I had
yep.
my the program that I do my editing on kept crashing. It's been a day, but
Oh,
we'll just do a very quick
yep.
finish up on the new season of Daredevil, which I
Yep.
thought started pretty strongly.
And I agree. I
Mm,
think it's been phenomenal. Daredevil Born Again on
mm,
Netflix. Sorry, Disney Plus. My apologies. Disney Plus has
mm,
the new Born Again series. Um, Phenomenal that they got, I think, almost everybody back as
mm,
far as the original cast that are key.
mm,
Cox back as Matt Murdock, Daredevil, D'Onofrio back as Fisk, Kingpin. We're getting a pop in from John Bernthal as the Punisher,
mm. Oh,
and
are we?
sizzled. Yes, and that's been sizzled that he's going to pop up
Right.
because they've also, just as a by the way, again, I assume this spoils nothing because it's public. As an after effect of this season, there is a one, not movie, but one episode, The Punisher One Last Kill
Mm.
sort of story for him that was birthed out of this season.
Okay.
So we know he's been sizzled just the same as Jessica Jones has been sizzled, but we
Mm.
haven't seen her proper really
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's a strong, strong start. And especially loving Michael Gandolfini, James
Mm.
Gandolfini's son, as like Fisk's. I want to be Wilson Fisk guy, right?
Mm.
He's
Yeah.
just the right level of slimy and smart and connected, and I don't care what you think.
And a bit
Go.
pathetic as well.
Yeah, oh mate, yeah,
Like
these elements.
he's definitely into the manosphere. Look,
Yes.
even when they haven't quite gotten Daredevil right, I've still enjoyed it
Mm,
across Netflix and here. I think I would put Charlie Cox up there with, uh, you know, uh, I'd put him in the top tier of actors playing superheroes.
mm,
Having read Daredevil for many decades, I think he really captures Matt Murdock incredibly well. And the same for Vincent D'Onofrio as
yeah.
Kingpin.
God.
I hope this goes for a
Ever.
number of seasons and that they,
Yes.
you know, really explore it. There's still some characters that they are focused on that I'll be curious to know how long they last because I think they have more interesting characters that they can delve into.
Yep.
I'm also it'll be interesting to see if he turns up in the new Spider-Man movie because, as people pointed out in the new trailer, there's something that kind of resembles the last trailer where they took the other two versions of Spider-Man out of it. So maybe he'll be turning up there. I know he's denied it, but he's also admitted that he would lie if he was in it. I'd like to see Daredevil on the big screen. I think he's great.
Yeah, and Cox in that role, and same with
Mm,
D'Onofrio's Kingpin. You'd have to see him slide in the same way.
mm,
My only disappointment is that it is publicly slated as a part of Phase 6 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which means there is connection and likely will be some kind of thread stuff.
mm,
The good thing is that there's no, where other Marvel bits have gone, oh, well, to watch this and understand it, you have to have seen and all of the things.
mm.
None of that. This is
No.
just Daredevil. And I don't know, Hamo, if I didn't pay attention to the Netflix version, but it feels like there's just the level of some of the brutality is lifted in the
Yeah,
Born
it
Again
has.
series.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's they said it's not they've taken notes, shall we say, from the Frank Miller era
Mm,
of Daredevil,
mm,
but not directly translated any of those stories. But I think that's what we get is a darker,
mm,
angrier Matt Murdock
mm.
as Daredevil, and I mean, as we saw in this week's episode, getting help from the strangest of places.
Yes. Yeah. Good. good final moment where,
Mm,
spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched it yet, but when they managed to kind of unmask him, and it was like, oh, okay, I wonder
he's
where this is
cooked,
going,
right?
and then it was like, no, they're all dead, and
Yep.
that is a gift from Bullseye.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
okay, great, I'm in. I'm
Yep.
happy to watch this. I much prefer the street stuff for Marvel at the moment, and yeah,
Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. All right,
Please.
we'll have to finish up. I'm off to see Alphabet Lane,
Oh, glorious.
an Australian movie, so I'm off to see that. Molk, always fantastic. When you come back, we will finish up this season of The Pit. We'll do more Daredevil talk because we'll have a few
Yep.
more episodes that we can dig into. There are a couple of things that we left on the shelf, which we can also save for the next episode as well. Thank you to Molk for joining me today. I hope that little glitch wasn't too jarring. I think I've done an all right job in stitching it together. To kind of catch you up on the bits that we missed, I hadn't watched the new Louis Theroux documentary, and like I kind of know a bit about the Manosphere. I've engaged with it just enough to be across things. My interest in it kind of popped up a little bit. Actually, probably going back a long time ago. My old friend and comedian Justin Kennedy had read the book where God, what was the name of that book? Where essentially it's the dating game or something like that, and it teaches you. It was teaching men how to neg women into liking them, and Justin Kennedy found it so disturbing. It was talking to me about it, and he said, "Oh, do you want to have a read?" And I went, "Yeah, sure." And it was awful. It was a really awful book, and it really bummed me out. And I reckon that was about 15 years ago that we read that book, and uh, over the time, I've discussed on this podcast before when Mad Max Fury Road came out. I just found it hilarious that there were all these men's websites discussing how the new Mad Max film had essentially, castrated Max and had a woman who was missing an arm who was just as tough, maybe even tougher than him. And I just found all of that posturing to be really embarrassing, that men would feel that way and that they would talk that way out and open. And I found it really funny. And then it turned out there were heaps of men like that, and heaps of them voted for Trump. And suddenly we're in this world where these insipid guys are preaching a way of life that is built on fear and also is using a foundation of not feeling comfortable with yourself. And what they've done is they've not only weaponized it, but they've monetized it. And they unfortunately they're getting to young men who have been on the receiving end of small L liberal media that has lacked nuance. Now, I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying. I think we should be talking about all sorts of rights for all sorts of people at any given moment. But there is a militant side to small L liberalism that what it does is if you don't understand it immediately, it tells you that you're stupid and it pushes you away. And I think that has been a massive mistake because sometimes people are just uneducated or naive, and therefore they don't really understand what people are arguing for. And I think it's important to show those people empathy and to show those people patience and win them over to your side, not through any other means other than laying out the facts and explaining it to them in a way that they can come to the same conclusions that you do, and then you have someone who's on your side. But I do think there is a subsection that are just dismissive of people who ask questions and don't know what you're talking about, and that's fuel for these men who are preaching an outdated and a very boring approach to masculinity. I'm not blaming small L liberalism. I think it's a small part of the battle that we have ahead of us. But what we kind of need to do is show younger men positive male role models. We have to lead by example, and we have to have patience, and we have to have understanding, and you know, I get the impression that this documentary, which I think I will have to engage with, sometimes if you give people enough rope, they'll hang themselves, and hopefully enough younger men see that, and the women who buy into this as well, that they see that these people that they look up to are essentially grifters, and they're just doing whatever they can to make money to fuel the lifestyles that they want to live, and also uh, reinforce the fact that uh, you don't have to have empathy. And if you don't have empathy, then you can't look back on your past actions and feel what you're meant to feel. Like everyone should feel a little bit awkward because they didn't get something right at some point, and they should feel a little bit embarrassed that they overstepped a mark, and they should feel uh, that they've let themselves down because they weren't at their best in a certain situation. There's nothing wrong with that. They're really important emotions to feel, because if you engage with them and feel what you're meant to feel, and then use them as learning tools, then you become a better person as you get older. And that's what it's all about. And a lot of these guys who want to, talk about this bulletproof sense of masculinity, it's really boring. It's really old fashioned. Uh, they'll end up alone, regardless of how much money they have, and it's just, how tedious to not be open to other people's experiences, to learn from other people, to have a person who has a completely different way of looking at things, or a different upbringing, or a different reaction to uh, you know a situation because of their skin color, and be able to learn from them. Recently, one of the most fascinating uh, online discussions that I've been engaging with has been the Oscar-winning Best Picture film One Battle After Another. And there is a section of the African American community who hate how some of the characters are portrayed. And while I think in some ways that is missing the point to what Paul Thomas Anderson is trying to convey, and also doesn't take into account that he has children of mixed race. I also completely understand where some of these people are coming from and why they would feel the way they feel. And, I don't necessarily have a firm opinion on it. It doesn't necessarily change the way I engage with the film, but it definitely informs it. And I feel like I'm better informed, and in a way, a more rounded person for having engaged with something that, in the long run, I can't really relate to because I'm not African American. So that's just a prime example of, if you see something and you open your mind and your heart and let it come in, you can learn from it as well. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on all of that kind of stuff. I know it's hard, especially for those of you who have teenage boys who are struggling with keeping that kind of influence away from them, and trying to uh, divert them into more conductive relationships with better role models. But hang in there. The fight is worthwhile, and eventually these people who extol these shallow virtues, their whole foundation is a house of cards, and they collapse in on themselves. So uh, endure as best you can, and I'm sure I'm sure these young men will grow up and see that they've been fed a whole lot of hogwash. The other two TV shows I was going to mention, I started watching the second season of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I'm not really a big monster guy, but I watched the first season for two reasons. One, I wanted to watch Kurt and Wyatt Russell play the same character, spread decades apart, with Wyatt Russell playing the younger version of Kurt Russell's character. I like both actors, so I just wanted to see what that was like. I also was a big fan of Anna Survey, who I'm pretty certain that's how you pronounce her last name. I looked it up a few times on online, and I got a couple of different suggestions, but that's the one I'm going to go with until someone tells me I've got it wrong. I saw her originally in a minor role in Pachinko and just thought she was fantastic. I gave Monarch a go because I thought, as one of the three actors that I knew, I was curious to see what she was like in this. And then she was just so brilliant in Shogun. I went back into this season. I'm two episodes in. I don't know about this show. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it. I'm not entirely convinced it is for me, but we'll see. The first two episodes, as I said, it's not really my favorite genre. And at the moment, the characters I find uninteresting versus the ones I find interesting. It's in the it's way more in the uninteresting camp. So we'll have to see. I'm not quite sure about that, but maybe when Molk comes back, we'll see if I've bothered to stick with it. The other one is For All Mankind, season 5. I don't know if you've seen this, but the first season posit the alternate history idea that Russia got to the moon first and what that does to the space race. I think the first season is fantastic. I think the second season is brilliant. I thought the third season was pretty good, and I thought the fourth season started to really lose a little bit of interest for me. I think there has been a mistake made in a couple of places. One is they became too married to a couple of characters. Joel Kinnaman, who was in the first season, is still in season 5, and even though he is really old, I just kind of don't buy that he's still such a relevant character. And also they've had a real trouble in bringing in new characters that were as interesting as the ones from the first couple of seasons. Look, it's difficult to jump ahead every 10 years or whatever it is to a new era and just be able to create characters that you love. But the first episode back was pretty good. There's still some characters there that I'm just not that into. It's incredibly ambitious, and I do appreciate that. It only has another season to go, but I think I'll stick with it. I think I'll stick with it because I thought the first episode back for season 5 was pretty good. Um, and I'll just have to once again use the word endure. Endure a couple of the characters I just kind of don't give a shit about. But you've come this far, baby, so maybe you'll stick with it. I stayed with Dexter until the end of season 7, and I felt like after season 4, I reckon I was like, I felt like it kind of had done everything it wanted to do, and then I was like, I'm not really enjoying season 5. And then they said there's only 2 seasons to go. I got all the way to the end, and yeah, Lumberjack Dexter was not the finale I was looking for. I know they've brought it back since, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'm a idiot. So people tell me it's quite good, but no, I've checked out. But anyway, I'm going to stick with For All Mankind. It hasn't dropped in quality too drastically, but geez, those first 2 seasons were kind of pitch perfect to me. So we'll see where this goes. But they were the 2 other shows that I was going to mention along with Daredevil Born Again. Okay. Quickly, remember the newsletter. You might, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you may have seen that on March 31st, it was 32 years since my first ever gig. And I have been writing a memoir on Substack, and I'm covering all of that stuff. I've just, in the latest edition, covered my first ever paid gig as part of the Bunter Boys, and that was a really fun thing to write about, and I think it's a pretty funny story. So if you like my writing and you're interested in what it was like to start as a stand-up comedian back in 1994, I think this might appeal to you. 32 years, yes. I am what they call a veteran of the comedy industry, which is a polite way of saying this old guy's been around for a bit. Anyway, it's funny, isn't it, how these things turn out? It doesn't feel like 32 years, so I'll take that as a compliment. Um, yes, if you want to sign up for ad-free versions and free uh, 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 bonus podcasts, you can find that at Patreon. I have two stand-up specials at my YouTube page. If you like my writing, it's all at Substack. For any of those, and if you want to follow me on social media, head to justinhamilton.com.au, click on stuff, and you will find all the links there that will help you out with that. Next week, I'm planning on recording with Alexei Toliopoulos. There's some movies coming out that I really need to discuss with him. Number one being The Drama with Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. Whoo, god damn. That was a conversation starter. So I really need to discuss that with him. And we are introducing a new ongoing monthly segment. Bryden Coverdale is back, and we're going to be doing a quiz that you can play in real time. It will be 10 questions that Bryden asked me. I'm going to write down all of my answers, and then you can play along at home because we'll be doing it in real time. And then we go through the answers and not only reveal what was correct and what was incorrect, but Bryden has stories for each of the questions. So just a little different way to do a quiz. But it's one that you will be able to play at home, and I'll give you some more details about that. But that's all for next week. Easter weekend coming up. If you're going on holidays, I hope they're great. If you're down at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, go and check out Jenny Tian. Go and check out Alexei Toliopoulos. Go and check out Tegan Higginbotham in Watson. This is their final weekend. They've been selling really well, and they just received a 4-star review in The Age. So go and check that out. Danielle Walker, Lauren Bonner. There's heaps of smaller shows that are really worthwhile checking out, and people are doing some great stuff. So I thoroughly recommend that you go and give them all a bit of a whirl. If you're staying home, enjoy the staycation, eat heaps of chocolate. Don't forget to, give your thanks to the big J. I'm not going to do that. Why am I saying that? You might. Good on you, but I'll just be I'm going to be hanging out with my Lord and Savior. I'm going to Richard Fidler's for lunch. So there you go. We all have our belief systems. Thanks for being a listener or a watcher of this podcast. If you'd like to give us a top review on whichever platform you use, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, just thanks for listening. Thanks for engaging. And we will see you on the other side of Easter. Until then.